Why has prepping become so popular with the left? Michael Snyder reports something really weird is going on. Traditionally, prepping has been associated with those on the right of the political spectrum, but now we're witnessing a dramatic shift. These days, many of the most hardcore preppers are actually on the left, and these leftist preppers have become entirely convinced that we're heading for a catastrophic societal meltdown, and they are determined to try to survive whatever happens. And we are starting to see leftist fears about the future being reflected in movies and television shows. For example, a new apocalyptic disaster movie entitled Leave the World Behind is getting millions upon millions of views on Netflix. If society actually did begin to completely break down, you probably would never know exactly how or why. You've been aware that something was wrong, but the specifics would get cloudy on once phones stopped working. The internet was severed, and media networks turned to dead air. Ominous late-night electronic shrieks from the sky, explosions in the distance, planes and boats plowing into the ground, animals flocking in eerie patterns would only hint at the chaos. A whisper network of survivors might convey contradictory rumors, but how would you know if any of it was true? And that's the unsettling premise of Leave the World Behind, a new Netflix thriller that compounds its terror through uncertainty. And you could have there's a 2-minute trailer here in the body of the article. It's definitely a movie for preppers, and the trailer of the film is quite startling. And as you can see, this movie explores a number of topics that preppers have been concerned about for a long time, but there's nothing conservative about this film at all. It was made by leftists and it's meant to be watched by leftists. In fact, it was the very first movie from the production company by the Obamas that they've established. In the movie, the characters have various theories for what is causing these unsettling events, and that it's the work of hackers, that it's a government conspiracy, that the U.S. is at war with rogue forces using radiological weapons to make people turn against each other. It's based on a 2020 novel by Rumen Alam and directed, written, and produced by Mr. Robot creator Sam Esmail. And it's also the first feature film from High Ground, the production company founded by former President Barack Obama and Michelle Obama in 2018. So why in the world would the Obamas want to make something like this? That is a good question. Hopefully somebody will ask them. And once upon a time, leftists tended to mock preppers, but now anxiety about the 2024 election is motivating many leftists to become preppers themselves. Doomsday preppers is seeping into the mainstream as Americans of all ages and political persuasions are becoming increasingly worried ahead of the 2024 presidential election about the prospect of a civil conflict. Hoarding food, water, weapons was once associated with libertarian extremists, but as a rematch between President Biden and his predecessor, former President Donald Trump, seems all inevitable in 2024, prepping has become a bipartisan activity, according to a Monday USA Today report. On the left, you have people afraid Trump's going to declare himself dictator of the United States, and people on the left are going to end up as targets in some sort of authoritarian system, author Brad Garrett told the paper. There really are lots of people out there that have convinced themselves that if Donald Trump wins the election, he will make himself a dictator and establish a fascist regime in the United States. And seriously, that is what they actually believe, it appears. The fact that Joe Biden's approval ratings keep getting lower only adds to their anxiety. Only 1/3 of Americans gave President Biden a thumbs up on the job he's doing in the White House, according to a new national public opinion survey. The president stands at 34% approval in a Monmouth University poll released on Monday, with 61% giving Biden a thumbs down on his job performance. The president's approval is at an all-time low in Monmouth polling since Biden took over the White House nearly 3 years ago. Many liberals are anticipating that a worst-case scenario, quote-unquote, is literally going to play out right in front of our eyes, and Mark Zuckerberg appears to be one of them. In 2020, his money played a major role in what we witnessed in the swing states, but this time Zuckerberg appears to be preparing for doomsday. On a remote part of Hawaii, Kauai, the fourth largest island in Hawaii archipelago, someone with a lot of money is bankrolling an extensive construction project. It's all very hush-hush. Security guards and cameras watch the perimeter of 1,400-acre site. A 6-foot wall blocks locals from peeking, and vetted workers are subject to strict NDAs, preventing discussion of the work. However, those non-disclosure agreements, the NDAs, don't appear to have functioned as intended, because a report in Wired claims that project's patron is none other than Meta, Big Cheese, Mark Zuckerberg. It's being reported that Zuckerberg's survivalist compound has a 5,000 square foot underground bunker and will be completely self-sufficient. The ranch will have at least 30 bedrooms and 30 bathrooms and a network of tree houses that connect some of the rooms, according to Wired. Wired reports that the main residence will be joined by a 5,000 square foot underground shelter that includes living spaces and an escape hatch. Sources told Wired the compound will be completely self-sufficient with an 18-foot tall water tank and pump system and food production systems. Even a radical leftist like Mark Zuckerberg can sense that really bad stuff is on the horizon, and so he is taking action. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans are buying gold from Costco at a staggering rate. Wholesale retailer Costco sold more than $100 million worth of gold in the most recent quarter, with gold bars seeing high demand from customers. You've probably read about the fact that we're selling 1-ounce gold bars. We sold over $100 million of gold during the quarter, and as September 30th, Richard Galanti, the chief financial officer of Costco, said during an earnings call December 14. This was the first quarter of fiscal 2024 at Costco. The wholesale retailer started selling gold online beginning September. In an earnings call late that month, Mr. Galanti had alluded to massive demand for the product. He said, when we load them, gold bars on the site, they're typically gone within a few hours. So why are there so many people hoarding gold right now? The answer is obvious. Inflation is completely out of hand, and we really are on the verge of a full-blown economic meltdown. Of course, our economic problems are only a small part of a much larger picture. A perfect storm is now upon us, and it's going to get a lot more intense during the months ahead. And before I end the article, he says, there's one more thing that I want to mention. It has to do, it's a sure sign that we do live in apocalyptic times. Pope Francis formally permitted priests to perform blessings for same-sex couples, a move that stops short of sanctioning same-sex marriages, but is still being heralded by some LGBTQ advocates as historic. The document from Vatican's Doctrine Office, released Monday, reaffirmed this previous statement, saying marriage is a sacred sacrament between man and a woman, but the document says requests for blessings from same-sex couples should not be denied, as long as the blessing is not conferred at the same time as a civil union, using set rituals with the clothing and gestures that are a part of a wedding. Did you ever think that you would live to see this? But this is just the beginning. Things are going to get a whole lot weirder. Millions upon millions of Americans can sense that we're heading into extremely chaotic times, and so they are feverishly getting prepared. Hopefully you're getting prepared too, because the clock is ticking. This is by Michael Snyder. He says, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecy of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing. And one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the economic collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.